9 years, accident-free. Not anymore though, but I'm gonna tell you, it got ugly, and I'm gonna tell you the story, so stick around. Like I said, I've been driving a truck for about 9 years now, and haven't had anything. I'm always very, very careful. In the first 5 years of my career, I was on a dedicated plasma account, and on these plasma accounts, we picked up in a lot of, highly populated, very tight shopping centers, and they were always, they were kind of in the bad part of town. Due to, just the nature of what they do. I guess that's the best demographic for them. But I was always in these tight parking lots, making my way around, in very, very tight areas. I picked up like downtown Seattle. It was almost always downtown in these major cities, and then in some of the smaller cities, it was of course downtown. And it gets very, very tight. I was taught, and by nature of that, I had no choice but to be extremely aware of my surroundings, because it was very, very simple for you to sideswipe a building, light poles, cars, the whole nine. So I've been trained like that for a very long time. And I roll that over today. Sometimes I'll overturn. And I just do that just because I just don't want to hit anything. This is how I feed my family. So I'm always aware, I'm always paying attention, and I always know what is going on around me. So if you missed, this was one hell of a day. I got pulled over earlier in the day, and I got a level 2 DOT inspection. That was not 100% clean. It didn't turn out terrible, but I will link that video in the pinned comments down below, so you can check out the comments once this video's over, and you can check that out if you want to see the rest of the day. But anyway, so I was on a hazmat load, and I took my truck, but I wound up picking up the customer's trailer. And I got over there early in the morning, and it was a load. It's about maybe an hour west of Houston. So I went over there, picked up, and then I was gonna run over to Beaumont and unload, reload, and then go straight back. Nice, easy day, right? Well, the DOT stuff happened on the way over. This happened on the way back. So I got over there, loaded, reloaded, I left, and I was gonna stop at that Petro in Beaumont, and I was gonna top off the tanks, get something to drink, get down the road. Well, if you're westbound on I-10 over there in Beaumont, the exit is Walden Road. And if you know this exit, it's a very tight turn to go under the overpass. I know this, I've been there many, many times. So as I exited, I know that it's a double turn lane, but traffic is backed up so far in the closest lane to the turn that it kind of had me thinking like, oh man, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just a single turn lane. Well, I got over in that far lane anyway, and as I got closer, I saw the turn signals. I saw the turn sign, excuse me, and it was in fact a double turn lane. So I'm in the lane that I'm supposed to be in. Everything's gravy. Now, whenever I get up closer to the stop sign, I see that far left lane, the one closest to the turn, they're supposed to turn into that first lane. Well, that lane was completely full. I'm talking, it was completely full. There was not a single car, four-wheeler, small, even a compact car that could have fit in that lane. So now, as I come to a complete stop at that stop sign, there's traffic everywhere, on both sides. So it's now cross traffic's turn. And so as the cross traffic goes, the lane that everybody's turning into clears up one car length, okay? Now I know beside me that there's a white SUV. I know this because I pay attention to what's going on around me. I need to know what's gonna be there, how large is that vehicle, where are they gonna turn to. I'm gonna use every inch of space that I possibly have, because I know that even with them clearing that one car length of space, that it's still going to be a tight turn. I know this. So, I mean, of course, I have my turn signal on. That's a given. So anyway, it's now our turn to go. Me and the white SUV proceed. The white SUV turns into their lane, there's not an issue. They clear, and I'm watching in my mirror to see where exactly they stop, to see if I have enough space to actually make this turn. And I do. It's going to be tight, but I do. So as I make that, you know, kind of that decision that yes, I'm good, now I turn to the other side, because you never know, there could be vehicles coming from the other side, and I don't want to take somebody out on the other side. So you always give that a quick glance. That was taught in truck driving school. You check the other way just to double check to make sure. By the time, or before, I was able to turn my head back around from looking to check my other side, I feel it. And I shake a little bit, and almost immediately, they lay on their horn. Not before, immediately when I feel that. I slam on my brakes, and to my dismay, I look in the mirror and I see an RV has hit the trailer. An RV that has an SUV in tow. They were turning from the inside lane. Now, think about that for a second. They're turning from the inside lane, okay? I'm still blocking traffic entirely, okay? My trailer is still, you know, I have everything shut down, okay? I still have, what is it called? I forget what it's called. I still have possession. I still have possession of the lanes. This RV turned from the inside lane behind the SUV. So number one, they ran the stop sign because they did not have the right of way. It was not their turn to go. They hadn't even pulled up to the stop sign yet. They were behind the white SUV. I'm 100% positive. So I don't even know where they were gonna go. Where were they even gonna turn? The lane that they were turning into, from that lane that they were supposed to be turning into, was completely full. So where were they gonna go? I guarantee you what happened was this guy got pissed off. He thought that I was going to cut everybody off. He didn't think that this was a turn lane. He didn't read his signs. I think all RV drivers should go through a mandatory CMV, commercial motor vehicle training, to avoid stuff like this. Not even a month or two ago, I was ran out of my lane by an RV. There's no excuse for this, but the other one from a month or two ago, that guy was just being a complete jackass. And he's lucky that there was nobody beside me. Otherwise, he would have totaled his RV. It's very frustrating dealing with these recreational vehicles. If you are out there and you are driving an RV, pay attention. Please do some research. You know, this is exactly what puts truck drivers out of business. How am I supposed to go home and explain to, you know, my wife and my two toddlers, Daddy can't pay the bills anymore. We're being sued. How am I supposed to explain that when you're the one, sorry, I'm getting heated, when this guy didn't even know what was going on? So I stop, and I'm not gonna move because I'm not gonna do any more damage to this person's RV than what they've already done. So I just sit tight. This lane that lane that was full clears up. He pulls out in front of me. I'm signaling to go to the truck stop. So we go over to the truck stop. We get in there. Now where I screwed up was I should have gotten out immediately and taken pictures of that right there. I didn't. That was the one thing that I think that I screwed up on. I should have said, screw traffic, and I should have gotten out and gotten pictures of that. That was the one thing that I didn't do. So if you're ever in this situation, immediately try to get pictures if you can. Even if you're just gonna hang your phone out the window and take pictures really quickly, whatever, just get something. So we go to the truck stop. This guy comes out. I mean, he's dressed nicely. He's got an Air Force hat on. He's got an Air Force jacket on. He's an elderly gentleman. And I'm thinking, okay, well, this is probably best case scenario until he starts yelling at me. What the hell were you doing? Oh, man. Okay, this is how this is gonna go? All right. I said, I was doing exactly what I was supposed to be doing. What the hell were you doing turning in that lane? Well, I turned from the inside lane all the time. I said, well, that's incorrect. I said, you are a large car with a vehicle in tow. You are towing something. You should never be turning from the inside. He said, I've been doing it for 20 years that way. I said, well, it's amazing that you haven't hit anything yet. So we go back and forth. It's not very pleasant. We're actually cussing at each other. And amidst this, or towards the end of this, he says, well, let's just exchange information. So I'm not thinking clearly at this second, and I'm like, fine. So I walk to the truck. I mean, I'm a few steps away, probably right here. We're having this conversation. I go back to the truck and I start to open the door. And as I'm opening the door, I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. Whoa, 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 whoa. Boom, I close the door. I said, no, I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna call my company. That's the first thing I'm gonna do. So I called up Landstar, got on the phone with safety. They took all kinds of information down. And I told them exactly what happened. I told them what lane I turned from. I told them who had the right of way. I told them that this guy went, basically now he's running the stop sign. I told him I stopped immediately. This guy came out of nowhere. He came out of nowhere. It just doesn't even make sense to me. I can't even comprehend the level of his comprehension that he thought it was one, his turn, and two, where was he gonna go? This doesn't even make sense. So I'm talking to Landstar, the safety department. I'm telling them everything. We get through the description point of the phone call, and at this point, she says, okay, here's what I want you to do. I want you to call the police out there because, as you're describing it, I believe you. You're entirely too detailed for you to be lying. So get the police out there and get them involved because it's almost guaranteed that this RV is going to be put at fault. Almost. Keyword almost. You never know. That's the thing, is you never know driving a commercial motor vehicle. You never know. So I said, okay. The first thing I did whenever I got on the phone is she answered the phone, hello. I said, okay, first of all, I just want to apologize in advance because I'm very rattled right now. And second of all, I just want to put this on the record. It's not my fault. I forgot about that. That was first thing out of my mouth. Anyway, so she wants me to call her back once I, call the police department. So I get off the phone, I let him know what's going on, and you can tell that he's starting to get a little bit frustrated. But after he hears me describe everything, his attitude has completely changed. Completely. Because now you can tell that, he's frustrated because this is taking, it's taking a little bit of time, which completely understandable. But you can tell that there's recognition now that he knows that he screwed up. He never admitted it, but he knows. So now I call the police department. Hello? I said, hello, I'd like to report an accident. And he goes, well, were there any injuries? I said, no, sir. He said, do any of the vehicles need to be towed away? I said, no, sir. He said, well, due to COVID-19, we're not investigating minor accidents. Have a nice day. And I was like, wait. I said, I'm a truck driver. I said, this is a commercial motor vehicle. Does that make a difference? He said, no. I'm like, man, this is not going the way planned, the way that I planned this. So I got his name, got his badge number, all that, just in case I needed that. I didn't. But, so I get off the phone, tell this guy what's going on. I need to call the company back. So I call them back. They're like, well, that's actually, best case scenario, really. Nothing's gonna happen here. one thing that she did say before I hung up the phone earlier was that my contract was not in jeopardy. You know, she made me feel better in that way, because she could tell that, you know, that I was very nervous. I mean, I was pulling a customer's trailer. You know, that made me very. That was my first thought, actually, was, you know, oh man, I just, you know, not I, but this customer's trailer just took some damage. Like, that sucks. That sucks. This is something that I want to have access to in the future. You know, it's a good load. It's right at home. You know, if I want to come home and, you know, kind of do some local stuff, this is a great opportunity for me. I thought that was screwed up as well. You know, obviously, the obvious things are, being a truck driver, you know, we're this huge target for lawyers. Huge target. So, you know, they try to nickel and dime, and they're like freaking vampires, man. They just try to bleed you. So that was going through my mind. You know, obviously losing the contract with Landstar was going through my mind. Like, it's been a crap day. But, you know, to her credit, you know, she kind of put me at ease when she said no matter what. She said no matter what, non-preventable, preventable accident, or a citation that said preventable accident, Landstar was not gonna put me at fault, and that my contract was good. So that definitely made me feel so much better. But, you know, whenever I called them back and told them that you know, that the police department was not gonna come out, best case scenario, we exchanged information. Down the road, Motors, he went. Now, I've got pictures. The customer's trailer, I mean, this trailer was steel. It was completely steel. Like, I'll post the picture now. You can basically just see that it looks like something rubbed up against it. I mean, there's two, like, very, very minor scratches, and looking at the rest of the trailer, it just, you know, I mean, I hate it that there's damage done to the trailer on my watch, but there, you know, there's nothing more than this thing just gets naturally. So, you know, that's no excuse, but at the same time, like, I just didn't feel like the customer was going to be upset. As a matter of fact, you know, whenever the customer was notified, first thing out of their mouth was, you know, is everybody okay? Is it, you know, how are the drivers? Are there any injuries? Stuff like that. You know, they weren't necessarily, I'm sure they're concerned about the trailer, but it wasn't their first priority, which was definitely nice to hear. And I wound up speaking to the gentleman later on, and he was overly nice, which I sincerely appreciate, because rough day at the office. So, you know, so there was that, and then here's the RV. The RV, it took, you know, it basically scraped up right there. That what you're looking at is about the size of a basketball, and the fiberglass was cracked. So I don't know how much damage he did to his RV, but, you know, it's not going to be cheap to fix, unfortunately. But unfortunately, he wasn't paying attention. So, man, 9-year career is no longer blemish free. I feel bad about this. Like somebody hits me and I feel bad. That's I don't know, it's messed up. You know, I was talking to my dad about it, and he's like, man, you can't feel bad. And he says, as a matter of fact, if this is the worst accident that you've been in 9 years, you should count your blessings. And you know, I do agree. But at the same time, I still feel bad. You know, I no longer have that clean record. I mean, it's clean because obviously it's non-preventable and, you know, the whole nine, but I mean, at the same time, like, mentally, it's not clean anymore, and that bothers me. So anyway, if you've got stories like that where, you know, you were in the right and the other person was in the wrong, drop it down in the comments down below. I'm curious. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. Check out that other video I was talking about. It's in the comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe and ring the notification bell. I've got a lot of good stories on this channel. You may want to check those out. I'll link that right over here in a playlist, and I'll throw another video over there. I appreciate each and every one of you, but as always, stay driven.